Okay. My name is Craig Caviar. I've been in Louisville for nearly 40 years. I apprenticed while I was in high school to a sculptor on Long Island named Philip Darling. And then I went to art school in Boston, which was the museum school. And while I was there, I kind of decided that making functional artwork would be a way that I can make a living. And so I've been forging ahead ever since. Well, I have long thought that making artwork out of guns for a good purpose would be a good idea. And I had tried that in a number of ways and times over the years. And it turns out that in Kentucky, any gun that is taken or surrendered to any government official by law has to be turned over to the state police and re-auctioned. And many of those guns wind up on the street for using for crime a second time. Yeah. There's a nice article in the Courier Journal that you should look up about that. So when a friend of mine approached me about her group, which ended up being called Guns to Garden, at the time it was called something else, about making garden hose out of the guns. I didn't think that they could do it because of the laws, but they were persistent, and they did find a legal way to surrender the guns. They don't have any government officials. And what they do is they don't accept the guns until the guns are destroyed. So they have surrenders. Right. And the owner has to stay with the gun until it's cut up, and then it's no longer considered a gun. Okay. And then at that point they take possession of it, and then they turn them over to me. I take a little piece of wrought iron, and I forge weld it to the center of that piece of gun, and then I punch a hole through both the gun and the wrought iron, and I add the wrought iron to give me more metal for the handle, so I punch a hole, and then I drift it open to the size of the handle, and I actually take the handle and burn it in place a little bit, not fully, but just to make sure I'm close to the right size. Yeah. And then on one side, I forge weld it good and make it flat into a hoe. And the other side, I flatten it out and then chisel a line and spread it in half. And at the exhibit, I'll have pieces that show the various steps. And then I forge them into a fork. A lot of the guns that are surrendered are guns that a family member committed suicide with. That's probably one of the high reasons that people are surrendering the guns, unfortunately.